Hello and welcome to Old Ways Gardening and Prepping. My name is Teresa and I'd like to welcome you out to the shed of many names on this raining again night. But at least it was a warm day. We've been cold for a while. We like to burn up today. And I'd like to welcome you to day 2 of Cinnamon Roll Frenzy. As you can tell, it is fried apple cinnamon rolls. Now what I've done is I've videoed both videos at the same time, and I didn't want to use the same introduction from the first one because I didn't want to give away what today's video, what kind of cinnamon rolls was going to be made for today. So with that being said, I tried to make these videos as short as I could, but when you make stuff from scratch, you don't really want to cut corners on your videos, so people have a hands-on experience on learning how to make things. When you cut and clip and cut your video short, most people don't know the hands-on. Some have never made bread dough, let alone cinnamon roll dough. And this is why my videos are a little longer, because I want to make sure when you watch my video from the beginning to the end, by the time the end is here, you know exactly how to make the recipe by hand. And of course, I'll have the list of ingredients in the description box below this video, so don't worry. Now, you'll see some, I'm gonna have to merge videos together. I didn't cut them. I just had to finish doing one section of one video, and then I filmed the second. I filmed the other part for this video. So, with that being said, I hope y'all have fun watching this video, and it encourages you to make you some fried apple cinnamon rolls, because they're delicious. Alright, I'll see you at the end of the video. We're going to get busy, y'all. Okay, got my apron on. Now, I will tell you, this cinnamon dough or cinnamon roll dough is, you can't fail making it. The only time you can fail is if your yeast is no good. And that's the only time. Other than that, this dough is absolutely fail-proof. Alright, I've got a cup of warm water. Not hot, but warm. And I'm going to grab my bag of sugar because I want a tablespoon of sugar in it. And that is only to feed the yeast. And you want to make sure that your sugar gets good and dissolved, because that's what feeds your yeast and makes it happy. And I want y'all to watch this yeast. If you watch my turkey roll, you'll see how fast and dangerous this yeast is. You have to keep an eye on it. And you're going to want 2 tablespoons of yeast. And you want to gently incorporate it into the water and the sugar. You don't want to do it too wild, because you don't want to beat your yeast up much. I'm going to set that aside. And it won't take long for it to start proofing. This stuff is fast. Now, while your yeast is proofing, you're going to want a big bowl. And in the bowl, I'm going to crack 2 eggs. And always remember, save your eggshells. Set that over there in my eggshell bowl. It's always got to be that one little piece. Never fails. Okay, now I'm going to whisk the eggs up real well. And in this cup, I have 2 cups of fairly warm milk and 1 cup of melted butter. And you want to make sure that it's mixed up very well. And I want to grab my salt. I'm going to add a teaspoon of Himalayan pink salt. And I always add it to the milk, egg, and butter, because if you add it to your yeast, it can kill your yeast. And as you can see, that yeast is very much alive. It is proofing up very nicely, and as soon as it gets to the top of my cup, I will bring you back. Not even 5 minutes, and it has proofed. And you want to make sure that you get it all out. Let me get my spatula, because I don't want to waste any of this amazing yeast. And it is amazing. Now you're going to want to stir just a little bit, not much, but you want to get it all incorporated in there. Alright, next you will need 8 cups of all-purpose flour. None of the cheater flour, as I call it. And you're just going to keep adding your flour. I absolutely love this dough. It is so versatile. Now I'm going to add a little more flour into my measuring cup. So while I'm kneading, I can access it easily. And there's a good chance I'm not going to use all that flour. But it's always better to have more than not enough. I'll set that aside. And it being the holidays, we all get into the let's bake mood. Okay. We're going to dip into our flour. Make sure your shirt sleeves are up. And make sure you have enough flour down. And here's where the fun begins. And we're going to knead our dough for about 8-10 minutes or until it comes completely together. And it's a soft, gooey dough at first. Then it takes its shape. It's a good soft dough. Don't worry about the little pieces of dough. You will end up working it into your dough ball. And if they become obstinate, just pick them up and put them in the dough. You don't want to use a whole lot of flour, just enough to keep it from sticking to your work area. But look how beautiful and soft this dough is. To me, it's always so peaceful creating dough. and bringing it to life. And making you and your family happy with wonderful treats this time of year. It's the time of year for family, friends, and loved ones. And if you do right, you end up using all the flour on your work surface, so you don't have a whole lot of cleanup. And you can see how it's starting to come together. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. And it's such a soft, wonderful dough. And it's a good way to keep your arms built up. I can tell that it's done. Put my flour aside because I'm going to need it again here in a bit. I'm going to get my bowl. I'll bring you right back. Okay, I have found this wonderful ghee cooking spray. No soybeans or anything. No canola in it. And I want to spray. I have to use aluminum foil because I use a plastic bowl, and plastic wrap is not going to stick to this. And I'm going to, now you can use melted butter too. It's the same thing. Look at that, just beautiful. Put it in, turn it over. And then if you wanted to, you could use a towel over it. And you're going to set it aside and let it rise until it's double in size, which won't take too long, about an hour or so. And I usually just let it mound up and let it get a really good rise. And I will bring you back as soon as it is done. See you here in a little bit. Okay, while the dough is rising, I am going to be working on the filling for today's cinnamon rolls, which, as you know by the title, is fried apple cinnamon rolls. Now, these are done just a little different than my usual fried apples, but it turns out wonderful, y'all. Now, let's turn this down. Now, I'm not going to make the big sliced fried apples. These are going to be chopped smaller so that it will cook in the dough. And I'm leaving the peel on. You can choose to take the peel off. It is up to you. Haha, apple seeds. Now, this one has blemishes, so just make sure you cut all of that blemish out. And I'm going to cheat, which is perfectly fine because, yeah, it's been a long day. I usually cut them by hand. But I'm going to let my little handy dandy chopper cut them up into small pieces. Now you don't want them just pureed to death. You want them to, you know, have a little bit of knowledge that, hey, I'm biting into an apple. Cut off any blemishes. And, of course, take the core out as well. Like I'm going to get quite a few seeds. Who knows? Might have some Granny Smith apples starting up before long. I'm looking at about 4. I'm going to show y'all how to do the first one, the first apple. And if I need to do more than 4, I will let you know. And like I said, you don't want it just pureed to death, but you want it like a kind of little bit bigger than a fine dice. Of course, some of them's going to be a little small, and if all the pieces don't get chopped up into smaller pieces, just take them out and enjoy them. These I'm going to save. Sorry y'all, I got my mouth full. These I'm going to save and put them in the next batch. Woo! You can tell that's Granny Smith. Hold on just a minute. I had to go track down my spatula. If you want to clean out the blender container as much as, or chopper container as much as possible, because you don't want it to get too fine pureed. Alright, I'm not going to make y'all sit there and listen to me continue to chop apples. I will bring you right back. Okay, I got my apples chopped up. You can see the consistency. It's a tad bit smaller than I wanted, but you know what? It's still going to work out. Now, like I said, I'm making fried apples. So, I'm going to add a little cinnamon. I want to save some because I'm sprinkling brown sugar and cinnamon down on the dough as well. Now I have my cast iron skillet ready to go over there. I've got some butter. I got some butter melted. And I'm doing this as the dough is rising. That way it will have plenty of time to cool down, because you don't want to put a hot filling in the dough. It could cause it to start messing up, could cause it to start rising like crazy. I ain't going to season them too heavy because I'm going to be sprinkling brown sugar, cinnamon in on the dough before I put the filling in. So, let's move that. And I'm going to pause it a minute and take y'all over to the stovetop. Okay, my butter's melted. And go the apples. I absolutely love fried apples. I said, I usually use white sugar, white cane sugar. This time I'm going to be using light brown sugar. Give it a little bit more of an apple pie flavor. Heat up just a little bit more so they'll get to frying a little bit. And you want to cook them just long enough to evaporate some of the liquid out and make a nice sauce. It'll thicken up. Oh, it smells good. And we'll cook them just enough to evaporate just about all the liquid that's coming off of them. And you want to keep an eye on it because you don't want to burn your apples. Oh, it smells so good. Smells like a really good apple cobbler. Notice the liquid is starting to evaporate out. That's what you're going for. Alright, we're going to cut it off right there because it's going to continue to cook. Oh, they smell so good. I'll move that off that eye. So it can start to cool down, and I'll bring you back when it's time to make the fried apple cinnamon rolls. Okay, now that the s'more cinnamon rolls are done, it's time to make the fried apple cinnamon rolls. So we're going to scoot the camera down so y'all can see. Same principle, just like the other dough. Flour your work surface very well. I'm not talking about just going wild, but you want a good dusting of, and this is all-purpose flour. And this time, I've already buttered my pan, and it's ready to roll in more ways than one. It has rows again. Punch it down. Now, like I said, if you want to make that whole recipe, go for it. I'm just trying to save time and get both videos done. Of course, dust your dough real good. Dust your rolling pin real good. And it's time to have fun. I absolutely love rolling out dough and working with it. It is something that is just so peaceful to me. And this time, I'm going to turn it around. I'm really lucky. This dough recipe is one of several that if it's raining outside, it does not affect it one bit. It will still perform wonderfully for you. There's a lot of times that we don't have time to wait for good weather to make bread. Man, they've been rolling those trains out like crazy. You want to make sure that you get it fairly thin, but not too, you don't want it paper thin. And as you can see, it is extremely easy to work with. It is a very soft dough, and I love it. Little air pockets. Okay, that's going to be as good as it's going to get. It does not have to be perfect, y'all. Remember that. Because you're going to roll it up anyway. But you want to try to get it as big of a rectangle as you can. My butter has cooled down some, but you know what? That's perfectly fine. We're still going to spread it on there. And you want to make sure you get that butter to the edges. That way your dough will seal. I swear it just sounds like we're right on the tracks anymore. And you want to make sure you get your dough covered with butter. You don't want it sopping, but you want the dough because it just flavors it so well, and it holds on to the ingredients also. Kind of like a barrier. Now on this one, I'm not going to do the sugar and cinnamon first. Excuse me, I'm going to do the apples. And let me tell you, they taste so good. They taste just like fried apples, even though they're little bitty and small. And you want to leave room on your sealing edges. That way they will seal up. And on the sides, you can get fairly close. Oh, it smells so good. Okay. And don't worry about little bitty spots, because believe me, the way I've got it spread, every single layer is going to be apples. Now we're going to do the brown sugar cinnamon. And this, like I said, is light brown sugar and cinnamon. Oh. And that's enough. And see, I still have a whole bunch left over. Which means later on, oh my gracious, I'll have to make some more cinnamon rolls, that is. Alright, now, this is just an extra that I thought about a while ago. You don't have to use it, especially if you or someone in your family has a nut allergy. I ground up about a cup of English walnuts just to give it a little bit of a twist. Am I going to use all of them? Not in this one, but I will have it for future use. You don't have to put a whole lot, just enough. And of course, I'll have all the amounts in the recipe section of the description box below. Well, it is kind of a recipe section. But when making this, it's just like you eyeball it. It's like hand measuring. You eyeball it. I know I chopped up 5 apples. Do I know how many cups or anything that was? Nope. They were 5 fairly small apples. And you don't want to spread your apples too thick, because it'll keep your dough from rising and cooking. Alright. It's time to have some even more fun now. It's already started rising. I love that yeast in this dough. You want to pull, not too hard, but you want to make sure that these layers are going to be fairly tight. I mean, you don't want them just a stranglehold, but the tighter you can get them, the better they'll hold together. And as you're rolling, just pull lightly, and these ends, tap them in. Or when you go to cut that end, it's going to be really naked and won't have a whole lot of filling in it. Of course, as always, the center cinnamon rolls, or fried apple cinnamon rolls, or whatever cinnamon rolls you make, usually always has the biggest amount of filling in it. You want to try to make sure you don't make any holes. Look at that. It goes from way over here to right here. Get my pan. Let's get to cutting some fried apple cinnamon rolls. Of course, these are going to look smaller because, well, it wasn't a whole lot of bulky filling going into it. And these you can actually cut thinner, give them a little more time to rise, and you'll actually get a whole lot more per pan. Put that one over here. I'm gonna warn you, it's sticky, y'all. I love making cinnamon rolls of all kinds. Now is when you gotta be careful and try your best. I cut some a little too big. And try to at least fill the pan up best you can. You better put the big one down towards the end. That way it'll spread out even more. Well, I'm going to spread a little bit of butter, not much on these, because I want them to get golden brown. And of course, I'm going to scrape this butter up, put it in a baggie, and use it for something, another batch of apple cinnamon rolls, fried apple cinnamon rolls, because I still have some more apples to use. And it's going to be a little while before I make any more. Whew. Talking about messy, but it is so worth it. Alright, I'm going to cover these up with aluminum foil. Now you do not want to get the bottom of the pan in any wet apple goo from cutting them, because it will start smoking in your oven. Barely squeaked that out. Alright, now we're going to let these rise for at least 30 minutes. And then at the 15-minute mark, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And that way it has 15 minutes to heat up while these are finishing rising. And once they have rose for 30 minutes, you're going to put them in your oven, middle ways in the oven, and bake them for at least 20-25 minutes, or just watch it. Once the tops start getting golden brown, they are done. Bring them out, and we're going to frost them together. I'm going to make up one big batch of excuse me, one batch of cream cheese frosting, so I can frost the s'more cinnamon rolls and the fried apple cinnamon rolls. And I will bring you back as soon as they are cooked. See you at the wall. Okay, while the cinnamon rolls are in the oven baking, I'm going to make a basic cream cheese icing. So it's going to be a bit looser than what a frosting is, because you want it to kind of melt a little bit into the cinnamon roll on the top, and then some stay on the top. So let's get started on this one. Alright, in my bowl I have 1 block of room temp cream cheese and a half a stick of butter. And you're going to want to blend this together very well, because you want it all to be incorporated. Now, don't use any fake vanilla, y'all. Use the real thing. And this is homemade for me. I'm going to put about a tablespoon, give or take, because I like a good vanilla flavor in my icing. And it's raining again, y'all. Sorry about the tapping on the roof. Okay, that is incorporated real well. Now, I don't measure, y'all. You should know this. I measure once in a blue moon. I'm going to want about 2 to 3 cups of powdered sugar. And it's powdered sugar, not regular cane sugar. Now, if you don't have powdered sugar in your house, an old trick, and I've had to use it many times myself, just take cane sugar, real cane sugar, put it in a blender or a food processor, and with the chopping blades, and yeah, you just powder the sugar. That's why it's called powdered sugar. And you just whirl it around until it gets extra fine. Now, you can use whole milk, or I'm using half and half. That's a couple or so tablespoons. And this might seem a lot of icing for one pan. Yes, this is going to be for 2 pans of the cinnamon rolls. Come on, get over there. And you want to stir it until all your lumps and your powdered sugar has been incorporated. I've still got more stirring to do, y'all. Now, of course, if you wanted to, you have a stand mixer, you can use that. You can use a hand mixer. I just kind of like to bear hug it and get it all incorporated. Like I said, I'm not going to be putting a whole lot on top of the cinnamon rolls because, yeah, they're sweet enough as it is. But I like icing on my cinnamon rolls. And this is how you know you have icing. If that was frosting, no, you wouldn't be able to do that. Frosting is really thick. Oh, that's so good. So good. I only want just a little. You have to taste it. Make sure everything is the way you want it. Alright, I'm going to set that aside. I don't even know what I've done with my coffee. I hid my coffee from me. Alright, I'm going to put powdered sugar up. Go put the half and half back in the fridge. And I'm going to check on the cinnamon rolls. And I will bring you back when they are done and ready to have a little icing put on them. See you back here at the wall. Okay, the fried apple cinnamon rolls are finally out of the oven, cooled down just a little bit, and now I'm going to frost them. Look how beautiful they turned out, just gorgeous. Now if you didn't want to, you don't have to frost them or ice them. Let me tell the truth, it's icing, not frosting. Oh, they smell so good. Nothing like homemade cinnamon rolls, fresh out of the oven. Now, I have had my dinner. Heated me up a big old bowl of that good soup I made, and it tasted so good. I so wanted to try the s'mores one. It's been a while since I made that cinnamon roll, but I needed to eat some dinner first. Believe me, I can always have one tomorrow. Now the spoon's gonna get in my way. It turned out warm today, and it's still warm out there and still raining. All right. Now, like the old saying is, pick your poison. Now, I like the center ones. Uh-oh. These rose so beautiful. Oh, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. They smell so good. Look how pretty they look on the inside. Kind of like an old-fashioned, remember the pecan wheels, also pecan pinwheels. Those are so good. Look at that inside. All those fried apples and little pieces of walnut. One more. I can't help myself. I need one more. Mmm. Oh my gracious, those are delicious. You never know how much you miss something until you haven't made it in a while. Simple, easy, yes, y'all can make these too. Yes, a little time consuming, but you know what? Homemade is worth every second that you spend making it. I hope you've enjoyed these two cinnamon roll frenzy videos. Now I get the fun of putting them together, but I hope it encourages you to try your hand at making your own homemade cinnamon rolls and seeing what the difference in taste is. They are so much better than anything you can buy already made. Simple, easy, just believe in yourself. You can make them. And these can be frozen. They can be put in your fridge. Or you can just share them with your friends, family, loved ones, or you can keep them for yourself. Just don't make yourself sick eating them all. I hope you've enjoyed this video and it motivates you as well. Y'all stay safe, stay sound. Continue to stock your pantries with food that will sustain you. Sorry y'all, I got the hiccups. Continue to stock food that will sustain you and nourish you, because we need to put back as much food as possible. Y'all stay positive. We're in this together and we're going to make it. I look forward to seeing you in my next video, and may you each be blessed. I'll see you soon.